I will be showing how to decrease using transfer tools. I will be using 1 prong transfer tool, 2 prong, and 3 prong. The easiest is to use, if you need to decrease by 1, you're going to use 1 prong tool. You're going to put it on the needle, push the needle back in, and transfer the stitch to the neighboring needle. And if you're doing something like a sleeve, you would probably do it at the same time on both sides. Empty needle, make sure empty needle is out of work. Pass the carriage. If you need to repeat the step, again, out, in, transfer to the neighboring needle, other side, same way, pass the carriage. 2 stitches at a time. You're gonna use 2 prong tool, and you're going to grab 2 stitches at a time, pull out the needles, push your tool back in, and then you're going to put 2 stitches on the 2 neighboring needles. Other side, same way, out, in, put it on the neighboring needles. So you can see how the piece is already considerably narrower. One more time with a 2 prong tool, so I'm decreasing now by 2 stitches at a time. Be sure to push empty needles out of work, and 2 stitches at a time. I barely have any stitches left. 3 stitches at a time. Okay. Could be done a little bit challenging, but could be done. You're going to be using 3 prong tool, out, in, and transfer on the neighboring 3 needles. Other side, out, in, transfer. Make sure when you transfer that you actually place every stitch on the needle. Pass the carriage. I'm going to show increase by 1. If you need to increase by 1, you're simply going to put 1 needle, you're going to push 1 empty needle back and work, pass the carriage. 1 more, pass. 1 more, pass. 1 more, pass. So you can see how my fabric, how I decreased my fabric and then increased it simply by pushing out extra needles. And at this point, it might be a good idea to put the weights on the sides of the fabric just so that the stitches don't come off because they're not being pulled down. If you need to increase by several needles at a time, you're going to push out the several needles in D position, and then you're going to E-wrap counterclockwise, so that will give you several needles at a time, as many as you need depending on your shape. Pass the carriage. You already increased here on the right side, other side. So this, when you're increasing by several needles at a time, you have to do it one side at a time. You're doing it on the side of the yarn. So E-wrap the needles that you're planning to increase and pass the carriage. in the opposite direction. So you can see how my fabric increased on both sides by so many needles. So here you can shape any way you like depending on your pattern. Cut.